Okay, so today we're looking at the farewell address of George Washington. Okay, George Washington was the general of the Continental Army. He defeated the British. He was the chairperson of the Constitutional Congress, and he was the first president of America. He served 2 terms. He was elected in 1789 and finished in 1797, I think it was. And he had 2 terms as the President of America. And after 2 terms, he said, enough. It's enough for anybody. You should have a new person with new ideas. Now, this was not a law. Okay? At the time, this was not a law. The law came about after Roosevelt was president 4 times. But at this place in history, they could be president as many times as they wanted, but George Washington, as the first president, said 2 times is enough. The most important points you can get from this speech, listen carefully. The most important points you can get from this speech. Number 1, George Washington thinks that 2 times as president is enough for anybody. Number 2, he is afraid, he is against political parties. In this speech, he will give a warning to America that political parties are not good for the country. Political parties will seek what is best for them, not what is best for the whole country. So part of this speech is a warning against political parties. And that is the part of the speech that most often comes up in exams. The part where he is against political parties. So when we get to that part, I will show you that you need to know that really well before your exam. Okay? So 2 main points. 2 terms is enough for any president, and he is against political parties because they don't work for the good of the country. Friends and fellow citizens, the period for a new election of a citizen to administer the executive government of the United States being not far distant, and the time actually arrived when your thoughts must be employed in designating the person who is to be clothed with that important trust, it appears to me proper, especially as it may conduce to a more distinct expression of the public voice, that I should now appraise you of the resolution I have formed to decline being considered among the number of those out of whom a choice is to be made. This means it is soon time to choose another president, a citizen who will administer the executive government, a president. And people need to think about their choice carefully. So he wants to tell them early that he will not be on the election paper. He will not allow people to vote for him again. He tells them early so that people can think about who is the best person to replace him. I beg you, at the same time, to do me the justice to be assured that this resolution has not been taken without a strict regard to all the considerations appertaining to the relation which binds a dutiful citizen to his country. So he says, he has done this after thinking what is best for the country. He's not doing what is best for himself, but what is best for the country. And that in withdrawing the tender of service for which silence in my situation might imply, I am influenced by no diminution of zeal for your future interest. Diminution means lessening. Zeal means passion. He is not less passionate about the best interest of the country. He is still very passionate about it. but he is supported by a full conviction that the step is compatible with both. So he thinks stepping down as president is the best for the country. The acceptance of and continuation hitherto in the office to which your suffrages have twice called me have been a uniform sacrifice of inclination to the opinion of duty. So he says he accepted being president twice. Why? Because it was his duty to accept. And to a deference for what appeared to be your desire. He said, it was your desire, you chose me, you voted for me, so I agreed with you. So he says there are two things that made him agree to be president. Number one, his duty to the country. Number two, the choice of the people, the suffrage. The suffrage means the vote, yeah?
Yes.
Think about the suffragette movement, the women who want the right to vote. Suffrage always means the right to vote. I constantly hoped that it would have been much earlier in my power, consistently with motives which I was not at liberty to disregard, to return to that retirement from which I have been reluctantly drawn. So before he became the president, he was retired. He was old. He was at home on his plantation. But because of duty and because of the choice of the people, he agreed to be the president. Now he wants to return to being retired. The strength of my inclination to do this previous to the last election had even led to the preparation of an address to declare it to you. He really wanted to do it after being president the first time. And he actually prepared a speech to tell the people that he would not be president 2 times. But mature reflection on the then perplexed and critical posture of our affairs with foreign nations and the unanimous advice of persons entitled to my confidence impelled me to abandon the idea. So because of the relationship with other countries, because of the state of the nation, because of the advice from people that he trusted, he abandoned the idea to step down. I rejoice that the state of your concerns, external as well as internal, no longer renders the pursuit of inclination incompatible with my sentiment of duty or propriety, and I am persuaded, whatever partiality may be retained for my services, that in the present circumstances of our country, you will not disapprove my determination to retire. So he says, the present situation of the country, we're not in danger, we have good relationships with other countries, so the present situation means I can now retire. Remember, you can be writing things down as I speak, don't worry. Well, not me. Other people. The impression with which I first undertook the arduous trust were explained on the proper occasion. So the reason why I agreed the first time was explained when I first became president. In the discharge of this trust, that means in the doing of my duty, discharge of the trust means doing the duty which you entrusted to me, I will only say that I have, with good intentions, contributed towards the organization and administration of the government. So he has helped to organize the first government. He has helped the first government to be successful. And the best exertions of which a very fallible judgment was capable. A fallible judgment means sometimes he could be wrong. But he has done what he thought was right, even though sometimes he may have been wrong. Infallible means never wrong. Fallible means can be wrong. not unconscious in the outset of the inferiority of my qualifications and experience in my own eyes, perhaps still more in the eyes of others, has strengthened the motives to diffidence of myself. So, he did not feel he was the best qualified. And he worried other people also might feel he was not the best qualified. So he was diffident. He was humble. That means he always sought to listen to other people and not think he always knew the right answer. He took advice from other people. And every day, the increasing weight of years admonishes me more and more that the shade of retirement is as necessary to me as it will be welcome. So every year he feels more and more that there are other people that can do the job better, that it is best for him to retire. Satisfied that if any circumstances have given peculiar value to my services, they were temporary, and I have consolation to believe that while the choice and prudence invite me to quit the political scene, patriotism does not forbid it. So he's done some things that are good, but now because he loves his country, he will retire. He will allow somebody else to take over, to have their turn. You see that? No. Just lay down. In looking forward to the moment which is intended to terminate the career of my public life, my feelings do not permit me to suspend the deep acknowledgement of debt of gratitude that I owe to my beloved country for the many honours it has conferred upon me. So he's looking forward to retirement, but he has a debt of gratitude. He is grateful to the country because the country has honoured him in many ways. I like this. Still more for the steadfast confidence with which it has supported me. The people have had confidence in George Washington as their president, so he is thankful for that. And for the opportunities I have thence enjoyed of manifesting my inviolable attachment by services faithful and preserving through in usefulness unequal to my zeal. He has had opportunity to serve. He is grateful for the opportunities that he's had. So he's grateful for the honor given him by the country. He's grateful for the trust of the people. And he's grateful for the opportunity he had to serve his country. If the benefits resulted to our country from these services, let it always be remembered to your praise and as an instructive example in our annals. Annals means in our book of history. That under circumstances in which the passions, agitated in every direction, were liable to mislead amidst appearances sometimes dubious, vicissitudes of fortune often discouraging in situations in which not unfrequently want of success has countenanced the spirit of criticism, the constancy of your support was his special prop. There. Likes long sentences. What this long sentence means is, if there were some benefits from what I did, let us remember to praise the country. Let it be remembered in the book of history. The situation was difficult. People wanted to go in different directions. Some people tried to mislead. There were appearances that were deceiving. There were times when they were unlucky as a country. It's been a time of difficulty for the country of America. But the country always supported him as president. So he says, praise your support, praise your trust, and praise your support. Profoundly penetrated with this idea, I shall carry it with me to my grave as a strong incitement to unceasing vows that heaven may continue to you the choicest tokens of its beneficence. So he is grateful to the people, and he will always remember in his heart how the people have helped him, and he prays that God will bless the country. Beneficence means good ways, so that heaven, God, will bless the country with good things. And that your union and brotherly affection may be perpetual. That the unity of the country will continue forever. So, after praying for God to bless the country, after reminding them of their union and their brotherly affection for each other, he wants the work of their hands to be blessed, and he wants the administration, that means the government, in every department to have wisdom and virtue. Virtue means goodness, to do the right thing. So he's hoping that the government will always be wise, and they will be good, and that they will take care of the happiness of the people of these states, and that they will take care of the liberty, the freedom that people have, and that the people's freedom will be complete, so that blessing will continue throughout the years ahead. And then in the next paragraph he says, perhaps I ought to stop. So he's given thanks to the people for supporting him, for trusting him. He's prayed for the country to be blessed by God. He's reminded them of their unity. And he says, maybe this is where I stop my speech. But for your welfare, and because there is an apprehension of danger, let me offer to you some solemn contemplation, some thoughts that I've had over a long period, and recommend to your frequent review some sentiments, which are the result of much reflection of no inconsiderable observation, and which appear to me all important to the permanency of your felicity as a people. So, because I'm stepping down, and because I care about you, and because I worry that there may be some danger in the future, let me give you some thoughts, let me give you some ideas that will help to bless you as one people, as a unity of people. These will be offered to you with the more freedom, as you can only see in them the disinterested warnings of a parting friend, who can possibly have no personal motive to bias his counsel. I'm giving to you these ideas as a friend. I have no motive for doing this. I'm not going to benefit anything from doing this. You're not voting for me anymore, so I don't need to worry about if you like me or not. There's nothing to make my idea biased. I am leaving you as a friend, like a father or an uncle, and I want to share with you some ideas first, so that you will be warned about potential danger in the future. Nor can I forget, as an encouragement to it, your indulgent reception of my sentiments on a former and not dissimilar occasion. I already gave you these ideas before, but I remind you of something that I already said to you in the past. Interwoven, as is the love of liberty, with every ligament of your hearts, no recommendation of mine is necessary to fortify or confirm the attachment. So, everybody in the country loves liberty. So it's in their hearts, in the ligaments of their hearts, in the fiber, in the muscle of their heart is a love for liberty. Yes? I don't need to tell you, George Washington says, I don't need to tell you about loving liberty because all of you already love liberty. So that's not the danger. The unity of government, which constitutes you one people, is also now dear to you. The unity, all of the government working together, which makes the country one people, is also loved by you. It is justly so. It is right for you to love unity. For it is a main pillar in the edifice of your real independence. A pillar is something that supports the roof. An edifice means like a building. So if you imagine like the building, America country being like a building, the unity is what holds up the roof. The unity is what holds the country together. So he's saying the unity of government that makes you into one people is the most important pillar that upholds your nation. Unity is the most important. The support of your tranquility, your peace at home, your peace abroad, your safety, your prosperity, the liberty, the freedom which you so highly prize, all of this is based on unity. But it is easy to foresee that from different causes and from different quarters, much pain will be taken, many artifices employed to weaken in your minds the conviction of this truth. There are different groups that will try to argue against unity of government, to argue against unity of the people. From different groups, from different people, from different reasons, with different motives, some people are going to go against your idea of unity. That's the warning. As this is the point in your political fortress against which the batteries of internal and external enemies will be most constantly and actively directed. So it says political fortress, it's like a castle. Yeah? So he's saying that the government is like a castle that keeps you safe. You know a castle? Yeah? Think about olden times, those big stone buildings, yeah? So now he's using the image of a castle, a fortress. And the fortress, the castle, is the unity of the people. And he says, there are some people from within the country and some people from outside the country that are going to hit the unity of your government, that are going to fight against it. It is of infinite moment that you should properly estimate the immense value of your national union to your collective and individual happiness. You must remember how important unity is to your happiness. And you should cherish a cordial, habitual and immovable attachment to it. You should cherish, you should love a cordial, immovable attachment. You should never change. Immovable means cannot be changed. So you should never change your love of unity. Accustoming yourself to think and speak of it as the palladium of your political safety and prosperity. Remember, unity is your political safety. Being united is what gives you safety. Being united is what gives you prosperity. watching for its preservation with jealous anxiety. Watch it carefully. Do not allow anybody to weaken the unity that you have. Discountenancing whatever may suggest even suspicion that it can in any way be abandoned, and indignantly frowning upon the first dawning of every attempt to alienate any portion of our country from the rest, or to enfeeble the sacred ties which now link together the various parts. Don't let anybody turn one part of the country against another part. Yeah? This links to the Civil War. Yeah? George Washington, even now, is seeing that at some point in the future, part of the country may turn against part of the country, like the North may go against the South. Some issues, like slavery, could make the country divide into those in favour and those against. And he is warning them, extolling them, pleading with them, do not forget your unity. If your unity is forgotten, you will suffer. You will not be united anymore. Your safety will suffer. Well, Civil War, their safety suffered. Your prosperity will suffer. In the Civil War, their prosperity suffered. So actually, his warning was very accurate. No? He warned them about not separating into different groups because everything in the country would suffer. When they separated into different groups during the Civil War, everything really did suffer. Okay. For this, you have every inducement of sympathy and interest, citizens by birth or choice of a common country. That country has a right to concentrate your affections. Whether you came to the country and became a citizen, or you were born in the country and you are a citizen, all of you are citizens of the same country, so all of you should be affectionate. All of you should love that same country. The name of American belongs to you. So you are all American. So you are all from the same country. In your national capacity, it must always exalt the just pride of patriotism. All of you should always be patriotic. All of you should always love your country. More than any appellation derived from local discriminations. With slight shades of difference, you have the same religion, manners, habits, and political principles. Okay, you might be a little bit different. One of you might be Baptist, one of you might be Methodist, but you have the same religion, more or less. You have the same political principles. You all love equality. You all have the Constitution. You have a common cause, fought and triumphed together. You fought against the British together. You won, you were victorious, you were triumphant against the British together. The independence and the liberty that you possess are the work. So the liberty, the freedom, the independence, independent nation that you have came from a joint council, joint decisions, joint effort, joint fighting of common dangers, sufferings, and success. You all worked together to become independent. So don't lose your unity. But these considerations, however powerfully they address themselves to your sensibility, are greatly outweighed by those which more immediately to your interest. Here, every portion of our country finds the most commanding motives for carefully guarding and preserving the union of the whole. You should find reasons in every area of the country why you should continue to be united. The North, in unrestrained intercourse with the South, protected by equal laws of common government, finds in the production of the latter great additional resources of maritime and commercial enterprise and precious materials of manufacturing industry. The North needs the South. The South have maritime, they have more ships, and the South have resources that the northern factories can use. So the North needs the South to be successful. The South, in the same intercourse, benefiting by the agency of the North, sees its agriculture grow and its commerce expand. Turning partly into its own channels of seamen of the North, it finds in particular navigation invigorated. So because of the North, the South can sell more agricultural produce. And because the North have ships, then the southern sailors can go and find work in the North. So the North needs the South, and the South needs the North. So he's saying that both sides need each other to be successful. And it gets protection from the maritime. The East, in its intercourse with the West, already finds in progressive movement of the interior communications by land and water, which will more and more find a valuable vent for commodities which it brings from abroad or manufactures at home. So the East can sell things to the West. The East can make things and sell things to the West. The East can get things from other countries and transport and trade with the West. The West at the moment means the other side of the Appalachian Mountains up to the Mississippi River. Remember, this is before the Louisiana Purchase. When he's talking about East and West, he means the east side of the Appalachian Mountains and the west side of the Appalachian Mountains. He does not mean California. Okay? You have to remember the time period that he's talking about. Okay. I think we will pause there. So there's two really important parts from this first section of the speech that we look at today. Number one is, if you get anything from page 94, 95, it's going to be looking at his duty, his service, his gratitude to the American people. That's what page 94, 95 is about. What he's done and why he's now retiring. That might come up, but it's not the most important part. From page 96, where it says here perhaps, down to 97, that second paragraph ending with joint efforts of common dangers, sufferings and successes, this is really important. This is saying that the most important thing that the American people have is their unity. Their unity brought them a lot of success, and their unity is what gives them peace and prosperity. Their unity is like the pillar holding up the roof in a house, or like the pillar holding up the roof of a temple, of a big building. If the country is the building, then their unity is what holds everything up, is what sustains everything. So he is worried that their unity will be affected in the future, that there's going to be dangers from inside and outside the country to their sense of unity. Okay? So part of that sometimes does come up, so I'd say that that's very important. Tomorrow we'll look at the next bit that's important, but it's a few pages further forward. Okay? Osulasa.